Tashdile and welcome to Tibet This Week. This is Sakina Bhatt with another edition of Weekly News on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines first. His Holiness the Dalai Lama meets delegates of the Human Education in the Third Millennium Conference. Former CTA staff offers long life prayer to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Tibetans in diaspora celebrates the 84th birth anniversary of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. CTA President Sikyong Dr. Lobsang Sangay in a Tibet Castle in Italy. First women's basketball tournament against TB concludes on His Holiness's 84th birthday. Why Chinese leadership is avoiding talks with the Tibetan representatives. His Holiness the Dalai Lama met with the delegates of the Roundtable Conference on Human Education in the Third Millennium in his residence in Dharamshala on Monday this week. The conference aims to identify and clearly articulate the main aspects of the significantly challenging problems of our time and establish directions that need to be developed further during the second stage of the project.
The big question is educational. I often used to telling people, young children, before join education, the basic nature of human thing, very fresh. Once they join school, at the school, not much talking about these basic value. And then, now here, if I may say so, the so-called existing modern education started from West. So, like Western world, when industrialization start, before that, I think, as far as I know, the education really carried by monastery and nunnery. So education very much combined with religious faith. Then gradually, the industrialization started, and then we need a different kind of education, mathematics, and then eventually science or these things. So it need separate education institution is necessary. So at that time, I feel more balance, moral principle, taken care by church. The newly developed education institution now mainly concerned about brain development, not warm-heartedness.
The main purpose of the Roundtable Conference on Human Education in the Third Millennium is to consolidate at the international level the efforts of thinkers on the education and educators concerned with the current state of education. Long life prayer offering for His Holiness the Dalai Lama Tenshuk was held at Zuglakhang and was organized by the former staff members of Central Tibetan Administration on Friday last week. His Holiness blessed the former officials, including cabinet ministers, chief justice, secretaries, and others who were gathered from all across the world to offer the long life prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. His Holiness lauded everyone in exile for working hard towards Tibetan spiritual and temporal matters. His Holiness assured the former officials who have worked for the Tibetan administration for more than decades that they will be guided and taken care of by the Avalokiteshvara afterlife, as they share a special connection with the Avalokiteshvara. The Central Tibetan Administration, led by the Kasha, hosted a special banquet for former CTA officials and staffs in order to thank and honor the extensive services of many years at CTA on Thursday last week. President Dr. Sangay acknowledged the gathering and highly lauded the members for their tireless effort and contributions to CTA. He further affirmed the significance of offering Tenshuk, which is the long life ceremony, to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The grand event also included cultural performances by the artists of Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts. Tibetans across the world celebrated the 84th birth anniversary of His Holiness the Dalai Lama on Saturday last week. Chief guest Sri Krishan Kapoor, Member of Indian Parliament and former Minister of State for Industries and Transport, in his keynote offered heartfelt greetings on behalf of the people of Himachal Pradesh and particularly expressed gratitude to His Holiness for making Dharamshala one of the most well-known destinations for peace and tranquility in the world. The President, Dr. Lobsang Sangay, said in his remarks, His Holiness has always spoken of the special historic and karmic relationship shared between the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan people.
During the Tenshu long life prayer, offering to His Holiness, led by Central Tibetan Administration, His Holiness reaffirmed that he would live beyond 110 years. It is important to remember that this year is also the obstacle year of His Holiness, and therefore it is of prime importance that we all indulge in meritorious deed and enrich our collective karma for the pacification of the obstacles, if there is any.
Let's have a look at how this auspicious day was celebrated around the world. The 84-year-old Nobel Peace Laureate released a thank you note to all his well-wishers, saying that he hopes to celebrate many more birthdays to come. His Holiness also mentioned that the best birthday gift His Holiness would want to receive would be if anyone fulfills his 3 commitments. The President of Central Tibetan Administration, Dr. Lobsang Sangay, embarked on an official visit to Italy on Saturday last week. To mark the 20th anniversary of the historic visit of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to the Canossa village of Italy, Casa del Tibet, also known as the House of Tibet, invited Dr. Sangay to the beautiful castle. The visit included meetings with dignitaries, interaction with media and Tibetan community. President Sangay shared Tibet's tragic story and warned Italy about signing China's Mega Belt and Road Initiative recently. Dr. Sangay also addressed the students and members of the Lama Tsongkhapa Institute. Funded by His Holiness the Dalai Lama's Charitable Trust from 2nd to 6th July 2019, the Department of Health, in collaboration with Tibetan National Sports Association, organized the first ever Tibetan women's basketball tournament against tuberculosis in Dharamshala. The final tournament between women teams from Dundubling settlement and Nepal was held on the occasion of the 84th birth anniversary of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Dundubling team won against Nepal team with a score 30-25. TCV Suja team was presented the Fair Player Team Award. The total number of teams participating in the tournament were Balakopi, Nepal, Dundubling settlement, TCV Suja and 3 teams from Dharamshala. Tu Wei-chun, the former executive deputy head of the United Front Work Department of the Communist Party of China and the former chair of the Ethnic and Religious Affairs Committee, in his recent article in Global Times and tirade against His Holiness the Dalai Lama, has said, "It is impossible to hold negotiations with Dalai Lama without conditions." He criticized Ambassador Terry Bradstad for interfering in China's internal affairs in the same article. Let us hear what the Information Secretary of Department of Information and International Relations, Arya Tsawang Gyalbo, has to say.
Yes, so why Chinese leadership is avoiding talk with the Tibetan representative is that since 2002 to 2010, we have 9 rounds of talk on Sino-Tibetan issues in which we have discussed on many points. Now from these 9 round of talks, what the Tibetan has gained and what the Chinese have gained. The Tibetan has gained very little only, whereas the Chinese has gained 3 major points. What are the 3 major points? Well, first thing is that they were able to silence the uproar of the international communities for some time. And then second thing is that they were able to get a support for the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Now the third thing is that they came to know, they came to understand fully what exactly the Tibetans are demanding. So the first and second points were very much in their favors. Now the third point is that the Tibetans are demanding genuine autonomy for all the Tibetans. So this was very alarming to the Chinese leaderships. Why? Because genuine Tibetans are not demanding independence, they are demanding autonomy. But then this autonomy is very much stipulated in the Chinese constitutions, and it is also very much well mentioned in the 17-point agreements. Now, if they deny the Tibetan autonomy, what the Chinese leadership is doing is they are violating the Chinese constitutions and they are violating the 17-point agreement also. That's why the Chinese leadership now want to avoid any further talk with the Tibetans. So in order to avoid talks with the Tibetans, they are putting irresponsible, irrelevant preconditions, saying that His Holiness the Dalai Lama should recognize Tibet and Taiwan as a part of China. So this is totally irrelevant. So in this way, the Chinese feel that if they go further Sino-Chinese discussions, they are going to lose because they are violating the Chinese constitution, at the same time the 17-point agreement which they have imposed on the Tibetans.
So much for this week's edition of Tibet This Week. See you next time and have a great weekend.